Everyone. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're a subscriber. If you are, thank you. If you're not, you can subscribe right now, or you can subscribe when you get to the end of this video. And I hope you are still around at the end of this video. So stick around with your girl. Men, you don't get to classify us all the same. Us girls are not all the same. So I am just putting it out there. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. There is this misnomer that somehow or another, societally, especially since social media, which I call social media, it can be so mean. And by the way, keep in mind, you don't always have to agree with anything on my channel or anyone else's channel. It's just an opinion, or unless it is like a commentary by someone is presenting facts, and you say, oh, by the way, that fact needs to be checked. But to get in a debate about a topic, not necessary. It doesn't happen here a lot. So thank you. It doesn't happen here hardly ever, but I'm just saying, you don't have to agree with me, but I will say this, men, particularly since social media and this whole thing about OnlyFans and the IG clips and everybody look the same and they push their boobs up and take that ridiculous photo, or they put their lips out. What? So anyhow, you pay for an image of a chick and you go to a men's, what used to be called a gentleman's club, and now it's just a boys' club. Now it's just a men's club. And you have women that's pole dancers and not to knock the pole dancer. You do what you do, whatever your profession is. That's your thing. Let that be your thing. Please understand, not all women are the same, and not all women will do that. Some women have just a different, what I would call a different setting, a different standard, a different a way of presenting themselves. Doesn't mean they're less sexy. They could even be sexier, but they just don't do that thing. Because there seems to be this easily viewing a woman now in her most sexy ways by which you wouldn't have seen before social media. For example, the girl next door. You only saw her when she was coming in and out of her home or when you were passing her in your community. But now with the onset of social media, Instagram, particularly in Facebook, you can just click on that person and try and search for that person and find some of their more telling photos when they're at the beach or when they're hanging out with their friends and they're drinking and they're having their fun, and then accelerate that up to even something more or less, uh, very, very little wear, I would say, scantily robed, and use your imagination as to that person differently now because now you see that differently. Please know and understand this. That view and that visual, what you do with it, because men are visual creatures, particularly when it comes to the opposite sex. That doesn't mean it's an invitation to you. Doesn't mean you need to pursue the person differently. Doesn't mean you need to have an idea that all women will do that. Because no, we won't. Many of us, and it has nothing to do with generation that you're in, it has nothing to do with um, age or modern upbringing or a certain type of righteous upbringing. It has nothing to do. I'm talking about womanhood at this moment. Certain things women are not interested in doing doesn't mean that they can't do it. They just don't do it. And that doesn't mean that you group all women the same. I've seen that certain women, particularly, let's use Hollywood. Let's use Hollywood. To get into certain cliques, into certain settings, to be invited to certain parties, you got to look a certain way and you have to play a certain game. Some women will just pass on that. They don't do that part of Hollywood. This is why you didn't see them at the Didi parties. This is why you didn't see them hanging out at the Club 54 and all this stuff, because they don't do that thing. Yet they could still be having a private party at their own home or hanging out with other Hollywood celebs that don't do that thing. So keep in mind, we're not all the same. And unless you have just become scornful towards women, and some men have become scornful to some women, You should not be using phrases like, all chicks are like that. All women are like that. Yeah, bro, I know my wife does it too. Yeah, bro, they could this and they just, no, not all women are the same. And so when you go into a relationship, you need to learn that person and you meant to treat that person that way. Be careful how you treat a person. Some things will not be fixable if you treat them beneath their standard. They could lose their interest in you altogether. So as we're getting to this social media and we're getting to dating differently, and we're getting to even matching profiles on these, what do you call this? Dating sites are so flawed. I don't see, I can never, I've made a video on it before. I just can't waste my time. I do better just being out and be yourself, be yourself. Because so many people fabricate who they are. They over makeup. They present themselves as a woman and then they open their mouth and you hear all kind of profanity like a sailor shooting out cursives. It's very difficult to find what I would call a priceless jewel of a person these days because everyone has become who they want you to see them and not who they really are. So, like Maya Angelou says, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. Oh, my earring just, what was that? I saw a little sparkle. Did you see that? Oh, sparkle. There it is. And it hits the light a certain way. It got my attention. Sorry. There it is. When it hits the light a certain way, it sparkles. Anyway, when a person shows you who they are, believe them, doesn't mean that you have to disassociate with them, doesn't mean that you can't bring them into or invite them into a closer part of your setting, but don't get categorized and don't typecast people based on what you see, meaning like a pole dancing woman or OnlyFans woman or a sexified woman. And in your imagination, all women can be that or can become that because no, we can't. Okay? If you've gotten this far, please click like, please click subscribe. And the shameful, I would say this, the shameful acts that a person does that is acceptable to you when they're doing it doesn't mean that you should downgrade or denigrate them once they stop doing it and go, oh, you're nothing but a pole dancer. Well, you asked for the number. So you knew they were a pole dancer at the time. Well, you're nothing but a OnlyFans. Because what you now is you're trying to lessen the person when you knew they were that way all the time. So again, when a person shows you who they are, accept it. And if you get someone who's really like hot, sexy, and virtuous, and principled, and value-based, and educated, and smart, and everything you wanted, don't lose it, okay? Don't be that foolish. If you got this far, please click like, please subscribe. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye. Take care of your relationships. Love them. Bye.